Previously on the kitchen. The humble kitchen, epicenter of the modern home, and the room we have decided to do our first major renovation on. And this is the kitchen we use today. This kitchen hasn't changed much in over 30 years. So the plan is easy peasy. Here is our stripped down kitchen. So what's next? What could possibly go wrong? Well, the electricians have arrived to begin installing our power in our kitchen, and take a look at this. In order to get power to where we need it and draw it down from the second floor, they're having to chisel out channels in the brick wall and draw it down to the locations where the appliances are going to be in our new kitchen. They also pulled a trench into the floor because we're going to have power in our island. You talk about a dusty, debris-laden mess. There are times when you do it yourself, and then there are those times that you have somebody else do it for you. So we had to have some additional power pulled into the kitchen to power all the appliances we're going to have. That cable you see there is actually the power, additional power that's going to be added, and it has kind of an unusual path. So the additional power journey starts here. This is the primary power feed where all the power for the castle comes through. It then takes a journey straight up 3 stories that goes into the attic. It then runs along these rafters all the way across the attic to a point where it can drop down to the stairs near the entry into the attic. The power runs down this conduit along the walls of the stairwells to the attic, and then goes through a hole into Martina's room. And from Martina's office, it then goes down into the kitchen. The electricians have finished their work. As you can see, they've pulled all the electrical cable in, they've tapped it down with mortar spots, and actually put in the sockets where the plugs will go in. We got lucky, we had a plumber come in and deal with that faucet head that was sticking out of the wall, and as you can see, he was able to make that flush. The challenge today is we have to fill in all of these trenches with mortar. We haven't done this before. You can see we've got the bags here. We're going to do the mixing. And you use a certain technique. You actually throw the mortar into the trench as opposed to just trying to lay it in. So it's going to be a real interesting day trying to get this all finished and filled in. It's been a couple days since the electricians had left, and as you can see, we've made huge progress on finishing off these walls. We're able to fill all the trenches with mortar. We're applying a layer of plaster to all the walls to deal with any remaining gaps and imperfections. And then we have to sand down all of these walls. Now we do have a large industrial scale sander, and we're getting a professional grade vacuum system to try to deal with the dust, but it still creates a huge mess. You have to do this in order to finish off the walls so that we can paint them. Once we finish painting, we can install the new floors. And at that point, we can actually have the kitchen installed. Now you have to remember, this room hasn't been touched or upgraded in 30 plus years. In order to be able to handle any type of the modern conveniences we wanted in the kitchen, all this work had to be done. The next step was install the new wood flooring. First, the subflooring had to be installed. The installer, who happens to be a neighbor across the street, spent 3 days meticulously leveling the subfloor supports to make sure the subfloors would be 100% level across the entirety of the room. And then the subfloor panels were installed on top of that. We did leave a note to any future tenants who decide to renovate this kitchen decades from now. With the subflooring in, we could finish painting all the walls in the kitchen before the finished wood flooring was actually installed. With the subflooring in and the walls painted, a different crew came in to install the wood floors. They were able to knock it out in a day, leaving us with a fabulous new level and soundproof wood floor. So after 3 crazy weeks, this room is finally ready for the kitchen to be installed. We've repaired, replastered, and repainted all the walls, including the ceiling. All the electrical work was finally finished, and we have the new floor installed. Tomorrow, they'll be installing the cabinets, the countertop, and the appliances for our new kitchen. It has been a mad dash to get to this point, but we think it's going to be worth it in the end. It took about 4 months for the kitchen renovation to be completed, from November through February. The reality is we had an operating kitchen in December. What was missing was the quartz countertop, which prevented the backsplash, the kitchen sink, and the induction stovetop from being installed. Instead, we had a temporary countertop with a metal sink and basically a hot plate to tide us over until the quartz countertop arrived in February. Hence why there was such a big gap between the kitchen part 1 and the kitchen part 2. Overall, the renovation was pretty trouble-free, and we've been thoroughly enjoying the kitchen ever since. Oh, what was that? Oh, you actually want to see the kitchen? Okay, hold on. Roll it.